Namaste and welcome. It is such a pleasure for me today to welcome two very wonderful members of the Cyan team at Rutgers University. They are here to tell us about a very special conference that is coming up at Rutgers University on April 30th. I have with me Shyam Kumar, who is a student at Rutgers who is majoring in political science, and Dhey Ray, who is also a student at Rutgers who is majoring in biomedical engineering. Welcome to Lokvani. Namaste.
Thank you so much. We were so excited to be here. We're truly appreciative and extremely inspired by you as well. So really happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Shyam and Dhey. So I'm just going to get right to the topic. You have a very interesting conference that is coming up at Rutgers. So could you tell us about it? The details of what it is, and when it is, and how people can register and join.
Yes, so our conference is named Demystifying Hinduism, and the reason I'm telling you the conference name first is because it's very true to what the conference stands for and what the content we're going to be presenting is. Currently, we see an environment mostly filled with misinformation online and some hate crimes also happening. We feel that people don't really understand Hinduism and some of our basic tenets, and so just to show that just to show what Hindus stand for and what Hinduism kind of is, we're having this conference to have two academic professors really present their work on Hinduism and kind of clarify certain misconceptions people are having. And so we have two speakers. What The conference will be on April 30th. The academic conference portion of the conference portion will be from 1 to 4, and then we'll have a panel open for where students can come and interact with the faculty. College students are a prime audience for that one. And that'll be from 5:30 to 7. And since we have the academic conference portion from 1 to 4, that's open to the entire community. So we'd love for anyone in the Rutgers community, and if anyone wants to drive down from the tri-state area, they're more than welcome to, and everyone will be open to come to that. Registration link, we've started sharing already, but we can also attach it to this video in whatever
Absolutely.
format it's going to be released in.
Yes, absolutely. We will certainly put the registration link here. And and it's a free conference, am I right? That's a very important part for people to know that they just can come and join. So now I think that's great. So April 30th, starting in the afternoon, about 1 p.m., and people can everybody attend the academic part, or
Yes.
yeah, the whole conference is open to all.
The
Fantastic. So there's a academic part and an open, panel discussion. So this sounds really fantastic. Now I wanted to ask you to tell me a little bit about the two speakers that you have chosen for this, Professor Vemsani and Professor Long, of course, very well known. But why did you choose these two people, and what is it that they are going to be focusing on in the conference? Sham, do you want to answer that for me?
Yeah, absolutely. I can start off in the day if you want to chime in as well. Please feel free. But really, we felt like Professor Long and Professor Vamsani were two champions who understood Hinduism and Hindu culture on the academic scale. So we really wanted to bring people who were knowledgeable, who really saw and understood that this is the importance that the Hinduism culture brings to the table. As Dhey was mentioning, some of the concerns that we had was that maybe across multiple universities, across Rutgers University, there were a lot of kind of academic discussions about Hinduism that we felt weren't necessarily fair, that we felt weren't necessarily supported by the Hindu actual diaspora, by the student community. So we wanted to really bring in professors to bring in a new limelight, to shed a new spotlight on how beautiful our Hindu culture is, what these wonderful teachings are and how we can all learn and basically take these lessons home.
Right. And I think very importantly, you brought academicians. They are academicians and practitioners. I think, unfortunately, a lot of Hindu academicians are not practitioners. And I think thus they really miss out on that part. It's maybe, their view itself, the glasses itself, the coordinate system itself changes. So I think I'm so glad you're bringing Professor Vemsani and Professor Long, who are viewing it from a Hindu perspective, but they are very, very, very well-grounded academics who can give us, the knowledge based on actual reports and not just feelings or emotions. So really, we are going to have an academic conference. So I'm very excited about that. And Shyam, what do you think would be the takeaway that you hope people will have from this?
I believe the one takeaway that I really want everyone to take home would be that Hinduism is a open and it's an open community for everyone. And really, there's so much to learn and there's so much to love about Hinduism as an entire umbrella branch of so many different faith groups. And that it is not a singular, forced, I would say, type of way of thinking. There's so many different avenues, different opinions, different ways to live out life. And I want that everyone really takes that home, takes that away, and that we stop having kind of some certain ideas about Hinduism that it's negative or it's toxic. And I want really people just to kind of see and shed that new light on Hinduism, just so that the Hindu students on our campus are supported. They're continuing to be supported. Rutgers has the one of the largest Indian populations, probably the largest Hindu population in this country of students in a actual American university. So really, the Hindu population is here. They are here because they wanna be part of the academics. They want to learn. They want to give back to the community. But also one part of that is also advocating on behalf of their rights, on their actual belief system, on their faith pattern. So that's what we're trying to do over here.
That's fantastic. And I love the topic that you picked, demystifying, because I think a lot of the negativity comes because people do not know. And people think it's something that is inaccessible, very, as you said, very mystical, because often it's presented like that, because the concepts sometimes can be complicated. And it's really great that you're bringing professors who know how to talk to students, who know how to simplify complicated concepts and bring it to light. So I really hope that they would be able to do that. And so from your perspective, who do you think will be the most important audience? Are the students the most important intended audience, or do you think there are others who could benefit from it as well?
So the way we've targeted it is we've split again to reiterate, we've kind of split the event into two parts. So from 1 to 4 is the academic conference that's kind of more in depth. Professor Vamsani will be covering her work on the divine feminine and the role of feminine energy in Hindu stories and shaping Hindu traditions. And Professor Long will be talking about how Hinduism has affected America since the conception of America on founding members of America, like founding literary workers of America, such as Thoreau or Emerson. And so really this kind of is very it's quite a these are quite intellectual topics, and we hope that we cater to those people who really like to dive deep into these kinds of things, and and enjoy these things, which usually tends to be more on the adult side, or maybe in terms of college audiences, philosophy majors or religious studies majors, and they really do enjoy this. But we really hope that it's open to everyone, that 1 to 4 portion. But that 5:30 to 7 portion, we specifically want for the youth and college students, because we know that the youth is very the youth, their tendency and nature is to ask questions. So that event is an interview style podcast, where kind of podcast style, where one of the members from our team will be on stage asking a few of the questions that the youth might ask from their perspective, and then open it up to an open question, so like the attendees can ask questions. So those are our target audiences for both of the events.
I love it. I think you picked very beautiful two areas to go in depth. I mean, the divine feminine, I think that's so unique to Hinduism, right? To see the divine in the feminine form. No other tradition does that. And I think that is very, very unique to Hinduism. To dive deep into that, I think is a beautiful thing. And who better than Professor Vemsani herself to do that? And the other very important thing is the influence of Hindu thought on the founding of America. That's a very important thing because I think people forget that we are Hindu Americans. We are not, our ancestry might be from anywhere, just like every other American, right? The ancestry is from anywhere, but we are Hindu Americans. And to know how this country, our country, has shaped because of dharmic thoughts, because of Hindu thoughts, is very, very powerful and so wonderful to have Professor Long, who again, is a perfect candidate to explain that. And I love the fact that you have an open segment where people can ask any question about Hinduism. That is not, focused on just these two topics, because I'm sure people might have other questions that they can bring up. And I'm really excited about the outcome of this. And I hope at the end of this, you may have a video or something that will be available that can, give this information far and wide to others who may not be in your tri-state area. Is that something we hope we can get in the future as well? Great. So I wanted to ask you that's really fantastic that you're doing this. Now, I wanted to ask you, as students at Rutgers, I know that there were other Hindu student organizations that were already there. Can you tell me a little bit about Cyan and why you decided to bring that organization to Rutgers?
Yeah,
Shyam, you
absolutely.
want to talk about that a little bit?
Definitely. I would love to speak on that. I think they're wonderful, and there's a plethora of many different Hindu student organizations at Rutgers University. So Rutgers has three campuses. So we're all from the New Brunswick campus. And really, there's so many wonderful student organizations here, but they represent more on the cultural aspect of, I would say, conversation and Hindu thought. I'll give you an example. We have about maybe like let's say three prominent organizations on campus which represent Hindu culture. We have a few spiritual organizations on campus which might represent like very like specific faith groups. And then on top of that, we also have a few more other just I would say on the side just more like I guess like diaspora groups on campus that represent more of the India students, American students type of situation. So I think one thing as Dhey and I were talking, as our supporters and the people who are mentors to us at the Coalition of Hindus of North America, our parent organization, we were all just talking. We really felt like there was a need for a Hindu advocacy student group at Rutgers University. That's where Cyan Rutgers really started, and it's been a wonderful journey. We've been working on an unofficial lens, but still have done many amazing official things over the last 2 years. I'll give you a few examples. We've worked on Hindu phobia workshops together with many different student organizations on campus, which has been a success. We've hosted a vigil for the violent attack that happened in Kashmir. It was a very extreme terrorist attack, and we really felt like a candlelight vigil would be the best appropriate response from the student lens. We also hosted the director of the Kashmir Files, Director Agnihotriji. We had a wonderful conversation with him about advocating for Hindu belief across the cinema. And now we are finally here at this point where we're extremely excited, and we really felt like this would be a great time to, I would say, just work on the academic side of Hindu thought, especially at Rutgers. So we really just want to express that we're so grateful for the entire team, for all the supporters that are pouring in and showering us with so much love, so much affection, and just so much just blessings that this event will go well, because we really think that it's going to be an event which will change, I would say, the way that Hinduism is perceived at university for many years to come.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what I loved what you were saying about Cyan is that I think, it's not just the religious studies major and philosophy majors who need to know about Hinduism. For every Hindu, I shouldn't call it religion, it's dharma. Their
Yeah.
dharma really influences who they are. It is their identity. And for them to know that well, to feel confident in that identity, and make sure that their rights as a Hindu are held up not just within the university, but as they grow into their professions. I think that's an important training that every young college student should have as they go out into the world. And I am so glad, Shyam and Dhey, that you are, working on that. And along those lines, I wanted to ask you, right? What other support, how do you think Hindu students feel in general right now? What is the mood of Hindu students on campus? And, like, do they feel comfortable with their identity? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? What is that feeling that is there? And what can the community do to ensure that, that the students feel happy and supported and feel proud of their identity? Maybe I'll ask each of you to give me your opinion on that. So maybe, Dia, you want to start?
Yeah, I'd love to. Just I think the age group of the college demographic is such that there's always a struggle with identity, right? In any era, the age, like the teenage to the like early 30s usually is like a formative time for everyone. And so I think the Rutgers college demographic is like that, right? Kids are trying to uh, tackle who they are professionally and balance that with their cultural identity. And I think it's kind of not cool to identify as Hindu sometimes, but I think that is slowly changing, and I hopefully we can be play a small part in being that change and kind of changing the perception of what it is to be Hindu. I think it'll always be that identity crisis will always happen, but hopefully we can make it easier for people to at least learn about their religion, which is what we're trying to focus on, right? Like through these kinds of educational events, and kind of make it easier for this whole process to happen. Yeah.
Right, right. Sham, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think Dave, that was a wonderful point. I'll just quickly add that I've got a wide range of many different Hindu friends, and they're all wonderful and they're amazing. And I think you'll see that a lot of them, as Dave was saying, are in a position or a spot maybe that being openly Hindu isn't maybe the most appreciated thing on a university campus, and maybe not just on a university campus, just in this age range, as Dave was mentioning. And I really think that I would say that there's kind of an advice angle to it as well. I think everyone has to, at one point in their life, choose their faith pattern and who they want to identify with as their cultural group, and just learn lessons from. And I think you'll have a range of Hindus either choosing and taking lessons from, let's just say, our itihasas, like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. So maybe they're taking lessons there. Okay, maybe not that. Maybe they're participating in different yagyas or different pujas or different ceremonies. Okay, so maybe not that, but maybe they're participating in different festivals like Holi, like Diwali. So really, you'll see a whole range of different students who are trying to, I think, find themselves. And I just want to say that I believe that I think the ANR are very lucky that earlier on we were given a lot of support by our community members, by our family members, by just our teachers, our gurus that like just to try and just I guess just try and learn and just try and see how this Hinduism processes for us as on the individual level. And I will say that there is sometimes like we all have doubts, we all have questions, and I think it's just wonderful that I believe that every day, the more questions I have, the more answers I receive from our wonderful shastras. So really, there's so much to learn, and it's just such a wonderful, wonderful collection. So I do think, as Dave was saying, that I really hope that we can play a small part into inspiring and uplifting different students, whether they weren't originally Hindu or they are Hindu, to learn more about Hinduism, to try and just see how they can, I would say, apply some of those skills. And I do believe that no matter what religious faith group you're a part of, what type of grouping you're a part of, you can take something very positive away from Hinduism, and you can actually become a better version of whatever group you are a part of by using the lessons and the skills that you have.
Absolutely. I think Hinduism is really a toolbox, and its goal is to make you a more confident, more happy individual, and who cannot use that kind of a toolbox, I think. So, Shyam, maybe I'll quickly ask both of you,
Yeah.
what was your journey as a child in the Hindu faith? I mean, did you go to Bal Vihars, or how did you come into the faith, and how did you find your identity as a Hindu? And Shyam, maybe I'll start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my youngest memory, and I still have my Hanuman teddy bear somewhere lying around, but I think my I'm very grateful to both my parents, to my grandparents on both sides. They're such inspirations to me, and I think from a very young age, they really inspire me just to get engrossed and learn more about the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, and baby Krishna. So I remember growing up as a kid, I'd like to share this, but I would bring a Hanuman teddy bear with me, and it was beautiful. And I think maybe as a kid you don't really realize these things, but as I get older, I'm like, this is wonderful. And really everywhere I went, I think up until the age of maybe like 5, I would have this little nice cute Hanuman teddy bear, and we go to school together. So. Really, I would say I'm very blessed that my childhood was filled with a lot of learning from our itihasas. And then I think there was a time period, which I'd love to openly talk about, through middle school, through high school, where I was questioning a little bit more. I think we were learning science more, we were learning different Western thought. And then sometimes I would question, okay, then how does this all pair together? Where is the connection? Is there an overgap? Is there not? So that's when I had a little bit more questions, and I think that's a great time for. I think every teenager really goes through this. But I would say that I was lucky. My parents put me in a Sanskrit school at a young age. So I was doing Sanskrit in England at a school called St. James, and then we
Oh,
came to its sister school in New York City. That Sanskrit ended up, I would say, taking a pause around that time. But then I just still continued my learning of shastras, of different knowledge. And I think that's what I'm extremely, I would say, grateful for to all the teachers. And now I will say this, that I think at some point, especially in the teenage age, um, a student has to choose if they want to continue. Because there's up to a point where parents can just keep on forcing it down their
yeah,
children, but
yeah,
there might be a rejection period where a student would be like, "That's okay. You know what? I actually don't want to go this way. I want to try something else." So I will be honest. I think in very difficult tribulations in my life and and harsh times, I was able to look towards Hinduism and towards our faith, and really just pray sincerely, and honestly, not even just pray, but just try and learn more. And I think everyone has a moment where they have to just decide that they want to learn more, they want to go forward with this. So I was lucky that God gave me some difficult times, and using those difficult times, you're able to kind of use that as a propulsion towards a right direction.
oh my goodness,
So I would say the quick advice I would give to parents
yeah,
is don't don't shove Hinduism down your children's throats. I would say I think now we're in a different generation where you have to kind of do things in a creative and fun way.
mhm,
And that can mean many different things. Maybe that's doing paintings together of Radha Krishna or Sitaram. Or maybe that is just explaining the meaning of different songs and bhajans in our tradition, actually breaking it down. This is what it means. Or maybe it's watching cartoons together or watching movies. Or maybe if not that, maybe it's just retelling different stories to each other. I think we have to think out of the box for our new generation to come because they have to see that Hinduism is a fun thing to actually learn about. And it's difficult for parents who are obviously working extremely hard, trying to raise money.
yeah,
But I do think that just with enough, I would care, with enough support. I know you mentioned Bal Bihars. So I grew up more in the ISKCON community.
yeah,
But really, we even as a child, I have a lot of family members. We used to go to the Arya Samaj, we go to different Hindu temples as well. So really a diverse, I would say, grouping. But I think take advantage of those like school, I would say like the Sunday schools or the Bal Bihars or
yeah,
whatever it's called at the mandir,
yeah.
the youth groups, and really just try and have your kids make friends in those communities as well.
That's beautiful. So a lot of things you talked about, which of the things that you talked about, actually, the one thing that I have little kids, very little grandkids. I mean, not kids, very little grandkids, and the thing gift that I give is Hanuman, and the joy I have seen. I mean, this is when they hold it, they love it, and the stories of Hanuman is the most I think entertaining them. Every time my granddaughter says, "Can you tell me a Hanuman story?" And she loves the Hanuman Chalisa. So I
Yeah.
think Hanuman is a very good gateway to enter, as it says in the Hanuman Chalisa, right? Ram duaro tum rakhware, hot na agya bin paisare. So maybe Hanuman is the entry into thing. Dhey, what about you? What was your journey?
I think Sham had a very eloquent story, but I'll just briefly summarize mine. I think just so I think what was the most formative in my childhood was the Doordarshan Ramayana 1987. Arun Govil was my pathway into Hinduism, and simple and sweet. My grandparents also used to tell stories, so I think stories, Hindu stories, have been my pathway into Hinduism. And I think for kids, stories like are the best way to learn. They love stories, and so we're fortunate to have a very, very rich a rich storytelling culture. And so that's it. My answer is Arun Govil.
I love it. I love it. I love it. But it's true. I mean, I think Arun Govil and great Maharishi Valmiki, who did not have Chat GPT to write his tale, but was able to really go and, think. I mean, nobody before him had a meter, right? The idea of a shlok, he invented it, he invented storytelling. And what a story that it still absolutely captures everybody's imagination. You talked about Hanuman and you talked about the Ramayana. So I think so. What I'm hearing from you for the parents is that it's important to keep the Hindu identity because Shyam, you said when you were in, having tough times, and who doesn't? If you're a human, you're going to have tough times. That's just given. You found great tools, and then you should allow your children to question because the Hindu tradition allows for that. It absolutely is not a dogmatic tradition, and it allows questioning. So allow your child to question. And I think one of the important things is you yourself need to know the answers because then only you can teach your child. So I think coming to a conference like this might be a good place if you as a parent have questions as well. And of course, now we are very blessed to have many resources like those Sunday schools, like the Samskrita Bharatis. I loved what you said about learning Sanskrit in school. Wow, that's fantastic. I attribute my own journey to that as well, that I was very lucky to learn Sanskrit in school. So I think that's a great, great tool. So I think a lot of this, and maybe just a 30-second close-up message for everybody for their, as maybe youngsters who are going to be going to college. Any thoughts, Dhey? I'll start with you. Hindu
Anyone
children going to college.
So, just a quick message for them. I would advise them to first choose a some major that satisfies you in terms of intellectual curiosity, and in terms of exploration of Hinduism. I would say I would suggest try to do one practice a day, whether that is reading 2 pages of the Bhagavad Gita or just chanting one round of some mantra, just one thing. I think consistency is really key, and uh, because of because Hinduism even allows a very wide range of thoughts and practices. So I think you can choose your pick in the variety and just explore that. Yeah.
Fantastic. And Shyam, is it important for them to keep connected to their roots?
Absolutely, it absolutely is. And just my quick take on that is that please, as they was saying, I think your sadhana is extremely important. And just try and I would say explore, as they said, just one thing, even if it's just one good thing, and also be creative and have a fun time with it as well. I still to this day watch the Mahabharata and Ramayana, whether it's the new soap operas, the old ones, and maybe they're not 100% accurate, but I still learn a lot. And in my heart, it's very nice to see that that there's actual a depiction of these wonderful deities in that story format in a new creative way. So I would say just stay creative, always stay learning. And I think just remember that you are not alone. The Hindu community is so big. There's so many people out there who are willing to give you a hand, and I promise you there are. You can feel free to reach out to either of us. I mean, our group will be on there, so you can always message us if you want to. But I just want to say that like there's so many different community members who are there to support you. They're there to uplift you, to guide you. If you have questions, if you want to believe in a certain faith path in the Hinduism branches, there's so many. And if there's something that you like, there are people out there in each level to help support you. So really, I think always remember that you are never alone. God is with you, and just also the community is with you as well. So please keep on learning.
Beautiful. I love it. I love the point you started with. Hindus are all about education. So find something that is intellectually challenging. fulfills your intellectual curiosity as a major. I love that. We have a political science major and a biomedical engineering major, very different majors, but obviously you're very, very happy with the majors you've chosen. We're very fortunate to be in America where we can, really have such a plethora of options. And we are blessed to be Hindus because again, we have a plethora of options of how we want to use our toolkit, to progress in life. And I think that's a beautiful thing that you said. And I think people are getting more creative. I saw that the Rutgers had a bhajan clubbing event by the Bhakti Club,
We
and I
did.
and
Yes,
it was
yes.
fantastic. So, being dharmic doesn't mean being bored. It means being having fun. I mean, that's how you get to Ananda. And of course, if there are questions, as you said, I mean, now online, you can ask the Hindu grandma, and I'm always willing to answer the question that any of you might have. So, thank you, Shyam. Thank you, Dey. Shyam, just 1 second. Can you tell us about the conference again so that people don't forget when, where, how?
Yes, April 30th. It's a Thursday, next Thursday. It's going to be at Rutgers University, New Brunswick, the College of Student Center, NPR. There'll be, again, as Dave was mentioning earlier, there'll be two segments. The academic conference segment, which will be earlier in the day. There'll also be the student panel, which will be slightly lighter. That will start at 5:30 to 7 p.m. Dinner will be included, a full set dinner. There will be also a wonderful lunch that will support with complimentary snacks, amazing little appetizers here and there. So really, please come to both segments. It's going to be an amazing time. And we're so excited. We need your support. We need you to really come through and tell your friends and just bring the entire community there. So thank you again so much.
The food is very important. I mean, that's what, if
Yes.
without prasadam, what is there? So I am so glad to hear there's great food that's going to be there as well. And I hope this becomes an annual event so that, is that your hope too, Do you think that's what you're thinking?
Yeah, we hope that this becomes
Yeah.
a annual event and we have a like make the academic conference longer. So not only do we keep the two professors we have currently, but add more professors so we have like a we actually get to the true conference
Exactly.
scale.
Yeah. And I hope you're really, once you create the template, I hope it can be replicated at other universities as well, so that, this is not just a Rutgers thing, but it travels around North America completely and Canada too. I know that when I visited there as well, there will be a lot of need for that. Thank you so much, Shyam and Dhey. I know it's almost, I think, exam time for you guys, and yet you guys are doing this. Well, I am sure Devi Ma, the divine feminine mother, will be blessing you both. So God bless you. Mangalam Shubham.
Thank you so much. Namaste.